Well, hello. Teresa here, and I want to welcome you to Project 486. Today I present to you Gone Fishing, written by Sam Riding, a tale of how tradition can sometimes be more crucial than you may have expected it to be, and how trying to alter them can be a very dangerous thing. So listen carefully, because you never know when it'll be you who has to carry on those traditions. Enjoy. I hate fishing. I remember the first time Dad drove me down to Blackwater Lake to show me just what it was he did all day. How boring the entire process seemed. Threading the line, picking out a piece of gross-looking bait before sitting there for hours on end, doing absolutely nothing. But as much as I hated it, I now understand why he did it. So that's why I've been fishing at Blackwater Lake every day for the past 17 years. You see, my dad was that grumpy old guy who gets mad and chases kids away from the fishing lake, grumbling about how they'll scare the fish. And now, I'm that guy. You'd think it was just because of how bad I hate goddamn fishing, but there's something else to it. When he died, my dad made it clear that he wanted me to follow in his footsteps and spend my time fishing up at Blackwater Lake. He wouldn't tell me why, only that it was his single dying wish that I do so. I told him I would. At first I made a liar of myself. Dad hadn't held down a regular job since he became obsessed with fishing. Growing tired of the financial burden, my mom filed for a divorce not long after. I had no intention of making a hermit of myself like he had, sitting up at that goddamn lake every day and just watching my life slip away from me. So I didn't go. I tossed my dad's old fishing gear into a closet and forgot about it. I told myself it was too soon, that it would just be too painful to go back to the old lake so soon after his death. But it was just an excuse. Anything to avoid fishing. But then something started happening in our small Rhode Island town. Little Hannah Phillips didn't come home one night. Police began a statewide search. Hannah's mom gave a teary-eyed plea on live TV for Hannah to come home. But she didn't. Her body has never been found. It rocked our small community. We'd never experienced anything like it. The most scandalous cases of criminality being the odd DUI and a pot farm the cops busted a few years back. But then it happened again. Another girl, same age as Hannah, failed to arrive home from school one day. Her body has never been found either, but police have found her little lilac bicycle abandoned in the woods up near Blackwater Lake. I knew what I had to do. I took my dad's old fishing gear from the closet, loaded it into my car, and drove out to the lake. Packed inside the canvas bag containing the rods and tackle was a small notebook. Scrawled in the tiny jagged handwriting that I recognized as my dad's were instructions. 1. Use big chunks of raw red meat, just like I showed you when you were a kid. I had packed a whole bunch of beef shin, big bloody cuts of it in the cooler loaded into my trunk. Casting it off was grisly work, but I soon got the hand of it. 2. When the bait's in the water, keep real quiet and don't move a muscle. It can't see so good, but it's mean. I sat there in the twilight of the evening, barely breathing, nature seeming to encroach around me, the gentle sound of birdsong floating on the breeze. It might have been relaxing if I wasn't completely and utterly terrified. 3. You might never see it, and I pray that you never do. But I promise you'll know when it's taken the bait. When it does, just put another piece of meat on the hook and place it back in the water. Remember, you're not there to catch it, just to feed it. He was right. What moved in the water before me that first time was huge, but I never even caught a glimpse of it. The deep, murky waters are how Blackwater got its name. But I felt it. I saw the water ripple and shift with the sheer colossal size of the thing as it unhooked the bait and swam away. When it was over, I was shaking so bad I could barely hook another piece. The woods were frigid, sodden, and I had never been so frightened in my entire life. I wanted to go home. But I didn't. I couldn't. 4. No matter what happens, you have to do this. Every single day. If you don't, terrible things will happen to people in this town. People who don't deserve it. You'll have blood on your hands. It'll be like you killed them yourself. He was right on that one too. I did have blood on my hands. Maybe my dad knew that feeling from experience. Maybe he too had neglected his duties once his own father had passed them down upon death. I hate fishing, but I understand why I have to do it every day. I keep this town's deepest, darkest secret from ever seeing the light of day, just as my dad, grandpa, and great-grandpa have done. There have been no more missing children since that day I took out my dad's fishing gear, since I became that grumpy old guy who chases kids away from the lake. So I'm almost glad whenever people ask after me, ask where I am, what I'm doing, because the reply is always the same: gone fishing.